want to hear a secret.
I want to know all secrets.
Welcome, any and all, to the Movie Club Collective. I'm your host, John Olson, and this is the podcast where every week we announce a new movie. We give you a week to watch it if you haven't seen it already, and then we have a roundtable-style discussion about it. Joining us this week from Greenpoint, Brooklyn, is Joe Bandelli, director.
Greatest person that ever lived.
Recently directed a feature film.
Thank you.
He is the greatest person that ever lived.
He's the greatest person that ever lived.
Recently directed a feature film called Seclusion. You can find it at www.seclusionfilm.com. What's it? What's the elevator pitch?
People are secluded.
A cabin in the it's about a bunch of people that get secluded. That's pretty much it.
All right.
No, it's
Secluded from society.
Cabin in the Woods movie. Little wedding goes there. A bunch of people start dying, getting picked off one by one, and you have to figure out: is the killer out there, or is the killer amongst them?
Wow, you know what? Like this is
Right?
how we see American weddings always going.
You guys were thinking like, wow, no one's ever done a film like that ever, right?
From top to bottom.
I mean, we every other day we get those down in Venezuela, and then eventually we started thinking that's regular. That's what happens on weddings.
It's almost as original as the premise behind the movie we're going to talk about today, which is Independence Day.
What?
It's July 4th.
Happy Independence Day, everyone.
What is independence?
Jose doesn't come from a place with independence.
No,
so he doesn't know about
we don't
that.
know what that is.
But you're American now.
I am an American now.
So
I'm definitely getting whiter. Look at that.
Kind of.
Nice.
definitely
Nice.
all the time. All right, so Independence Day. One of the things we like to start with sometimes is what was your experience with the movie before you watched it for this conversation? So, like, have you seen the movie before? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What? Take us back, Joe. Do you know what's your relationship with this movie?
Taken Back, 1996, one of Will Smith's first movies that he starred in. It was a fantastic experience when I watched the movie when I was about 12 years old.
Nice.
I distinctly remember the president's speech being a very uplifting speech that made us all unite and brought the world together. So I remember it being an amazing movie.
I love
Are you reading Q notes? You're so cute. You're so cute.
Yes, I'm reading. No, this is a paper towel.
It's a paper towel.
There's
no.
nothing on this.
Oh, damn it.
It's
like my note cards.
It's like
there's nothing on this.
Mid-show and I have to start masturbating. That's what this is for.
Oh my god.
We did recently put the explicit label on the show, so you can say whatever
I tell
you
you,
want.
if I had a penny for every time I've done that in this show, I would have today 7 pennies.
So we can say whatever we want, but can we also do whatever we want?
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, there is censorship
Words.
that we can apply to this.
Yeah, I suppose we could censor it. We do pre-record, so it's not like live. You're not catching live. What about you, Jose?
On the same day.
So did you watch it? Did you just see this movie when it came out and then you never saw it again?
No, I've seen it about 10 times.
10 times. A shit ton of times.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fan?
It's one of those movies that every time it's on TV, I stop and watch it.
I stopped watching. Okay. What about you, Jose?
I have to agree with that. I mean, I saw it back in 1996. It made an impact, an impact on me. It's a movie that you, I don't know how to say this without sounding like but it's just like if you're not American, then there's a part of this movie that you just can't feel because it's an American holiday.
It's an American movie
made a worldwide holiday, and then through American efforts, which we don't know if are Republican or Democrat or which side they swing, they unite the entire world. And then you like that idea. You can go, oh, this is awesome. And then when he says like today it's an Independence Day, you go like, most Americans will feel great about this.
Like
Jose,
John, I don't know if you felt this way, but I'm sure John and I, like when the president's giving his speech and when they're doing all the fighter pilot stuff, we're thinking real American. Did you make the connection when they showed all the people from the other countries like in tents in deserts? Was that when you were like, this is like my people?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, this is a fun thing because we were all hoping
Japan had a concrete bunker.
They did. We were all, when we went to see this movie in Venezuela, we were all hoping that part of the plot was that, they start the fight on July 4th, but it ends like a day later because Venezuela's Independence Day is the 5th of July.
It's the 5th.
It's the day right.
They're like,
so,
son of a bitch.
so
Well,
it was
you know what?
so
By
close.
the time it
Oh wow!
Sorry.
Oh,
By the time
that was Joe. That was Joe.
got
No, it wasn't.
it was not. It was me. By the time word got around, maybe they had an Independence Day on the 5th.
Yeah, there you go.
But because it wasn't America, no one cared about it.
Exactly.
It was after the fact.
But yeah, I mean, it was close to my heart. The same as Joe. Like if I see this movie playing in a screen, I will pay attention. I mean, if I have the time to spare, I'll probably watch it through the
Yeah,
rest of it.
I saw this movie in the theater. We're pretty close to the same age, Joe. So I was somewhere.
Oh, you're both teenagers. Oh, that's
I was
so
in-
cute.
I was in 6th grade when it came
I
out.
think I'm actually closer to Jose's age than I
Are
am to
you? Are
Yeah.
you? Maybe. Right in the middle somewhere.
You getting white hairs already, like me?
A lot of them, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Mostly on my testicles, though.
I knew it.
Hey.
I knew it.
That's where it starts.
That's exactly what it starts. That's where my vitiligo starts.
You could say testicles on
You
this,
can
right?
say-
Yeah,
can say
this
penis.
is a raw episode.
This is very raw. This is
Things get raw on this episode. Of
we
the Movie
knew
Club
this.
Collective.
We
My
knew
bad.
this.
All right, no, it's all good. Yeah, I saw this in the theater. It was pretty great. The ship coming in. Not Star Wars great, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I have fond memories of this film, but it's been a long time since I saw it last. We had it on VHS. It was like one of my mom's favorite, like, just like throw that movie on to
Nice.
chill. But I haven't seen it in like over a decade. So it was kind of interesting going back with a completely different take on the film. So I guess that'll bring us up to just like, does it hold up? Does this movie hold up after 20 years?
You know, the interesting thing is that ever since 1985, when Netflix started, and I used to watch it in Venezuela, I watch it like
Netflix?
every. No, I'm like,
It was like, really?
What's happening?
like what? 1985? Like what? I feel it does hold.
You think it does
I,
hold
I
up?
feel it does hold. I mean, there are moments, several of them, in which now you watch it and you go like, yeah, I mean, this is clearly visual effects and all that stuff. But I don't know if it's the emotional attachment or the fact that the story captures you and then you kind of like give it a leeway. But to me, it holds.
What about you, Joe?
I kind of agree. I think it holds. I don't think, I sort of feel like the aliens that they created were kind of similar to like the animatronics in Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs. Like it's something that they didn't go crazy ridiculous over the top, and they didn't show them so often
Yeah.
that it's something that they're
The
not
effect
like,
shots are quick.
correct. Like the I think the big thing in the movie was the ships and their destruction, not necessarily the aliens themselves.
Yeah.
So I thought it held up.
Yeah, the effect shots that they hang on the longest are like the big ship hanging over the city in the wide or whatever.
Correct.
Most of the others are pretty fast. They do some. It's interesting how practical most of the effects are. They're almost entirely practical, with some CGI from like the ships and stuff.
And one thing that a lot of people forget is Roland Emmerich directed it, which Roland Emmerich is
This
like
was the
Michael Bay
beginning.
Jr. So
This was the beginning of his disaster.
He just blows everything up.
Yeah.
So I think this was a good.
I mean,
blow up
this was
everything
like
to see.
his starting point, and it's just, and every time he does the like, I have to one up the last one.
Yeah.
So like, it's like this was where you started. This was the one you blow up
Yeah.
most of the major cities on Earth.
Yep. What do you think? Did you think it held up?
It came off very sort of stagey to me this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just very theatrical for the most part in the acting style. I also just felt like the movie doesn't really have anything to say, and like takes no stance on anything. I was really trying to figure out like what party he was. I was like, okay, is he like the Democratic pretty boy or the Republican, whatever? And like, you can't tell. He has no policies. We know zero of his policies. We only know like how the media spins his image.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're very bare bones things that are important to the plot of the film. Is like that's all we get. It's like, and it's such a like let's try to please everybody kind of movie.
True, and I think that was the point. Like, if they made him very Republican or very Democratic, I feel
Don't
like you
wanna
would
lose
have
anybody.
dislike the movie
Yeah.
because of his politics.
Yeah, they like left it out of there. Like, we'll have patriotism,
Yeah,
but like literally, we don't know anything that he was trying to accomplish as a president.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't even like speculate. You can't even start to speculate what party he would be in.
You just have to assume that he was the girl in Casper's father,
Yeah.
so he has been a good president.
He's not a
That's
very
my
good
theory.
president either, I have to say. I was a little disappointed. Like, okay, upon this rewatch of the movie, I said this to you the other night, is that like if I'm gonna talk trash about the Prometheus script, which I have many times, I have to kind of talk some shit about this script also, because they do everything wrong. Like, they're so stupid. The government is the dumbest, like, most disjointed. It's not really like a pro-government efficiency kind of movie.
Well, I think
Like, the scientists should have immediately told the president that, oh,
True.
by the way,
So many-
aliens in Area 51. Like, this is a
Got it.
need-to-know situation. Let's
Yeah.
do that first. Like, they're very lackadaisical about everything.
so for the sake of drama, or for the
Also,
sake.
also
yeah.
the
Just trying to ratchet up.
the thing around the dude's neck, or
Yeah.
when they're doing the communication thing.
The tentacles.
Like, I love that. All right, so I've seen the second one, so
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to ruin anything.
Oh,
with saying
right.
They kind of do something similar that they did in that whole sequence, and the thing that I hated about
I saw
that
this in
is,
the
like,
trailer, the
is
shot.
like is the dude is getting killed, and they listen to him for about 15 minutes, not 15 minutes, like 2 minutes, and then they're like, let's shoot through this glass and kill the aliens.
Yeah.
Why didn't they think to do that first?
Why didn't they just immediately shoot through
Yeah.
the glass? There's
Yeah.
so many moments like that in this
Well,
film.
I have
Like,
so many.
and I
things to
love
say.
how they walk into that room and it's like, no, we can't get him out of there. And it's like, oh, you know what will solve that problem? A gun, which we all have.
Which we all have. Another thing I thought was BS is that given what the movie had shown us about the alien capabilities, the nuke should have worked, I
Yeah.
think. Because if the hillside can like disable the shield of the small one, then like a nuclear, however many megatons of force should be enough to punch through that shield. So I kind of feel like BS on that. I know they were trying to ratchet it up and all, but
I can
like,
think-
how did Will Smith take down that thing? I always thought that the bubble should have held.
I
And
can
it should
I
have
can
just,
think I honestly can think about like at least two answers for each of the two things that doesn't make sense for you guys
got
in
answers?
this movie, and for everything that you just have said.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
have
Let's
All
hear
right,
it.
yeah, I want to hear.
I have answers for all of that. So the shield, like
shield.
like let's say you have a shield on some device that moves, so then you need to count for inertia. So if something hits the shield and stops movement, it will stop also the movement of the ship. So the ship can wreck even if it just lands on its shield because of inertia. It will still feel the blow. So whatever the ship got damaged.
It'll hit the
moment-
inside of the
It will
shield?
hit the inside of the shield. I mean, like, it's like same thing. Like if you have a shield on a car and you crash upon something, you will still go against the windshield. Like it's not that you are not counting for inertia.
But then a missile would do this. It would have the same effect.
Well,
Like a nuclear amount of pressure
no,
Like,
no.
so
would
you're
push
saying-
the
No,
shield
no.
You're
against the
saying you've
body.
also seen a scene of the
No.
aliens, and they're like, oh,
Yes, exactly. Or, no,
You get,
this
like,
is the thing.
against the glass.
Look, if something hits the shield, then the blast doesn't get through the shield. But if the ship is moving and it hits something, then the whole ship inside would also feel the inertia.
I agree.
You
All right, that's that one.
Yeah, I mean, tell you, it's like
Okay, why
Hollywood-
didn't the Secretary of Defense immediately tell the president?
That is the
about
only
alien?
bullshit in the movie. That is
That's
the
it.
only.
That's it.
What about the shooting through the glass part?
Okay, the shooting to the glass part is because the thing was communicating with them. It was the first time.
He did want to do peace.
He wanted to talk
That's
to
true.
it. They only showed it after they saw there's no it's
Yeah.
clearly,
There's
but
no peace.
Exactly. When he said no peace,
Technically, they didn't shoot it when he said no peace.
No, he
they
should've-
shot it when he started attacking the president.
Attacking the president.
Which to me, it was like, okay, so he's killing this other guy.
Yeah,
he's killing
he
some
had
other
he was a
people.
clear
Fuck
aggressor.
them, who gives a shit? But when the president starts to get killed,
yes,
then it's like,
yes,
oh
because-
wait, shoot the
because-
glass.
It's
Because,
true.
you know,
the
the guy-
scientist, whatever. The president, though, we need him for
Yeah.
the
government.
president we need him. But the guy is he's using it as a puppet. He's communicating.
We don't
so
need
to
the
talk
freak
to him.
show guy.
Yeah.
He's like, ha, freak show. I love Brent Spiner. Don't get
And
me wrong.
also, I guess that like one of the interesting things that I mentioned to John when we were watching this film the last time is that in every other film that you get some sort of situation like this, you always have the appointed person for defense. How you call it? Like he called it the Ministry of Defense
Department
the General,
of Defense.
Department of Defense.
So
Secretary.
The Secretary of Defense.
Yeah. Who's
They-
like the devil.
In every other movie, they
Do
just
it,
want to nuke
President.
everything. They just want to let's just blast it out of the sky.
Let's nuke it.
This guy was so set. This guy was like, that will cost American lives, or we cannot just nuke
Yeah,
them.
the
Or-
general was
or-
the smart one.
The general was so like not like a stereotypical Hollywood general, to the point that the guy who was interested in only the polls was the asshole in this whole movie. It's like, I'm gonna not reveal information, because if this thing doesn't
Plausible
blow, exactly,
deniability.
possible that he's just thinking politics. He's not thinking. He's thinking people's are numbers, and then the general is like,
What's that
people
guy
are
from, by the
people.
way? That actor, the Secretary of Defense. What's he from? Some other famous kids movie, like
I don't like. Oh, the Secretary of
Yeah.
Yes, he
like
was.
Honey I Shrunk the Kids or something. Something
like-
along those lines.
It's something about rascals and stuff,
I don't know.
rogues.
By the way, this is the first movie that me and Jose watched together for the movie club.
ever, we
Uh,
never watch movies. together.
Ever.
Not ever, but
I have,
for
a,
this.
I have a
movie club.
question. Who is Kimmy and why does she love you, Jose?
Kimmy loves me.
I don't know. I'm looking behind you and I just seeing. the
Oh,
big-
it's
Is it
it's
Kimmy?
probably not for Jose. It's
Oh.
for it's like the studio.
Oh, Kitty loves you. Yeah, I know. This is for the studio, because this is Papa Pichana's studio.
Yeah.
This is how. What other nicknames does he have?
I'm not gonna say the one that he
Yeah,
wanted
there's
me to.
like, yeah. It's something very bad, and then something that will go on an episode of SVU.
Sorry, I just zoned out while you were talking because I don't understand Spanish, so I just started reading the things behind you.
I don't
do-
speak
I don't
Spanish.
speak Español. Oh, Español. Where were we? What were we talking about?
Independence Day.
Independent, like the day or the
Who's
movie?
okay? What's the best aspect of this movie? Like as a filmmaker, what's the thing that was most successfully executed? Anyone want to kick off?
Clearly, when Will Smith punches the alien in the face and says "Welcome to Earth,"
Welcome to Earth. I don't mind that one, but then he goes on and like has a second quip to the
oh,
alien.
what's he say? Now that's what I call a close
Yeah,
encounter.
I was like, oh, close encounter. That one was too much. for
Groucho
me.
moment. A Groucho moment.
I was loving Will Smith in that scene right up until the Groucho. That's
Yeah.
what I call close encounter. I was like, no, that was just one too far.
Oh God, this is just.
I'm thinking you guys can take this first question, the filmmaker perspective.
Let's see.
You got anything to say?
I mean, obviously, the effects are good and the tension's pretty good. So, I mean, this movie is like somewhere between an homage and a ripoff of 1950s,
Yes.
like pulp nonsense.
Yes.
It does have a very old timey feel to it. So I don't know. Those are pretty good. Jeff Goldblum's great. I think he's the highlight of the movie for me. And Will Smith is also very good in this role. He's got good energy aside from the occasional like really over the top one liner. But yeah. So I guess some of the acting is really hit and miss in this movie though. Like Judd Hirsch is all right despite the like schmucks and schlemiels and like all those I'm Jewish words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't forget. But otherwise he's pretty good. Jeff Goldblum's good. Bill Pullman's kind of terrible. I really didn't enjoy his.
Yeah, he's very
performance.
rigid. The only part that he was actually really good on was the speech.
What
The
about
speech,
Bunny?
I feel like anyone could have given the speech and it would have been great. The speech is just,
Yeah, it's a
Gold.
good speech. It was a good speech.
yeah, one of the best. Like this is the rousing speech moment speeches, in filmmaking. It's just so good. It's so ridiculous and it's so fun. A friend of mine, David Carl, does a one-man show of Hamlet, and in it he replaces one of the speeches that the players does with the speech from Braveheart, or not from Braveheart, from Independence Day.
That's
And
cool.
it's amazing.
That's funny.
It's really good. Because he starts off with like the Shakespearean verse, and then it like slowly shifts over into Independence Day, from total annihilation.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I just love how how they portray the media. You know, like there's you see this media clip and they say like again authorities ask the people of LA to not shoot at the spacecraft because you might start an interstellar war. And I go like, what? Like this is media. This is how media works. It's like you could just make them retaliate. You could say, or that is hostile. No, they go straight to
I do love that
interstellar
smash
war.
cut of like, if you feel compelled to leave the city, please do so in an orderly fashion. And then it's just like, ah! Like it's a well done.
It's
well done
how
cut.
it would happen.
The music's a little overdone in this movie for me. We were constantly having to
think
adjust
so?
the volume because the music would be blaring so
no, but I think
loud.
no, I think that's just the device in which we were watching
don't
it.
think so.
I don't think they have mastered that music in that sense. But you might be right. I mean, we should try to test it.
I
in
think there were
different
times
devices.
when the movie was overpoweringly loud.
Probably. Look, I think that the best of this movie.
Maybe I'm just getting old.
You're probably getting old. You're doing too much sound work. He's doing too much sound work, so now he's paying attention to that.
I will say one thing that I did not like in it was I didn't like Vivica A. Fox and her son. That storyline. It's kind of pointless to me.
Didn't like it.
Kind of pointless, it's true.
Kind of pointless to me. Like it was just to show a connection to the real world for Will Smith's character. I don't like that at all. I thought it was kind of
Will
pointless.
Smith like has hints of a character in this movie, but he really doesn't get to have one. Like they established really quickly that he tried to get into NASA, and then he tries to have the moment where he's like, I've always wanted this. But I was like, they could have set that up way earlier.
Yeah.
He comes into the movie kind of late, just with the earthquake.
Yep.
And he doesn't like we see very few of his values. So I bet you that if we explore that character a little more, we probably won't end up liking
No,
him.
but there's a lot of characters in this movie.
I know.
And nobody really has time.
What about Bunny?
Well-
Bunny,
well,
she's so hot.
What's up?
She's so hot.
Well, what's the joke?
I was gonna say, you know, which character I liked a lot, which I think served his purpose, was Harry Connick Jr.'s character, which was his
The tragic
partner.
friend.
Yeah, I thought like he had the like
He could have taken a
He did very
moment to
good.
like
comedic
pour one
timing.
out for him though when he does his cigar. Like, it's like, man, you're your homeboy. You don't get to have the cigar together.
Yeah, but I think when you have a movie that has so many like major stars in it,
Mm.
like to have a character. Usually, every movie has one character or two characters that are like such a minor role, but are actually like very, very helpful for the emotional like furtherment of that character's development. And I think that was what his character was for.
They had a
How-
good rapport in the locker room scene.
They did. The locker room scene
It's
was
funny.
really funny.
Yeah.
But you know, like I think that this movie makes it well on taking the preconceptions of space alien movies from the 60s and 50s and then making an adaptation that you can still recognize, but it still feels new. Because you know, when you think before all the sci-fi movies that we know right now, all the references were these movies, and this movie with flying saucers and death rays. You know, like that was like the main thing that you will expect.
I will
aliens.
say
This movie have those. This movie have flying saucers and death rays.
It's
Like
true.
exactly, but it has in a way that we accept
On
it.
the topic of like
Yeah.
modernizing it, I love the use of technology in the film because like they still have cell phones. So like even though they don't all have smartphones like we do today or whatever, like what Jeff Goldblum's doing still feels like sufficiently advanced. It's like shit that you wouldn't know how to do.
Yes.
Like the Jeff Goldblum gets the best character development in the film for sure. He gets better development than Will Smith's character does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he ends up without his shirt again.
Yeah, man, he just loves that open.
Several times in every movies.
He's-
In the whole movies he makes. He's like,
Must go faster.
Yes.
Must go faster.
Nice chat.
You know what I liked? I like that they like brought Area 51 into it. Like I like
That
that they
was
took
fun.
something that is like still kind of real, we don't know kind of thing. Like they took something that like that's so relatable to today and they applied it to the movie. Because in my opinion, there's only been 2 alien films that have kind of played with that. Coincidentally, they're both Will Smith movies, Independence Day and Men in Black. So
There you
just
go.
saying.
There you
Because
go.
they did that with the whole Queens thing with the 2 tower things actually being alien ships and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Just me.
Although I do have to say something about Area 51. If you take Area 51, like this could have been a movie in which we defeat incredible odds by just being clever with what we have and know, this movie pulls that ace under the sleeve and goes like, say, we do have alien technology, and then otherwise, like the moment that you realize there's no way we can beat them, then suddenly
I feel like
the ace
this
under the
movie
sleeve comes out.
sacrifices its logical plausibility for reveals. It's like I want to be able to like have these like, oh, by the way, Area 51's in this movie.
Yes.
So, I think it was a trade-off, and one that was like a conscious decision in some ways, because it's like
the
it's so
order-
designed to just like have another reveal. And
It's just
another
that
reveal,
it
which
feels
is good.
some of the order of events in which things happen, you feel that they have been placed in that order for dramatic purposes, but they would have happened way earlier. Like it's like you said, like the moment this happens, president knows about Area 51. They evacuate cities. Like all these things would have happened before, but then because of drama and because of moving the plot forward, and they just make them delay and then created like a bullshit excuse for it. But
Yeah.
it's kind of the only thing. But it will be interesting to see a movie like this played as if the scenario was real. Like what would actually happen in the war for real if suddenly ships just come into like hiring somebody to
It's
say
sort of unpredictable because there's 7 billion of us, and we'd all have a different idea of what should be done.
Yeah, and we have the whole Democratic and Republican like fight over what to
it's
do.
crazy.
Oh, absolutely! It
It's
would be
crazy.
just like a split down the middle in every single country of like how we should handle it.
It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
actually, that's a really good point. Like in this movie, anytime a critical decision needed to be made, like maybe there was one person who disagreed with it, but it was like, boom, decision made, we're doing it. Like that would never happen today.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Well, it depends, because remember when we were watching it yesterday, and then they the big thing that's coming from the moon, which
Wait,
is the
you watched
mothership.
it yesterday, July 3rd?
Yes, correct. I watched it yesterday, July 3rd.
Okay.
So, when they tell the president, they go like, oh, it's split in like 17 or 20 something different parts, and they're like 50 miles diameter or whatever.
15.
And yeah, 15. Okay. So then the thing comes out of the sky, and then everybody knows, and then she tells something to the president, I know, and it's like somebody's just telling you, you have 20 minutes to process this information, and life as you know it will change forever, and then you need to address the nation.
Yeah,
But you
it's
have
pretty
20
crazy.
minutes to just process.
Yeah, he
this.
gets a heads up. 25 minutes.
Exactly.
He'll be here.
Exactly.
Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen
In 25
right now.
minutes, you need to take decisions. You need to save life. You need to change your perspective and lead people into a world that nobody have ever dreamed before. Okay, go. It's like, I mean, it's
And he totally chokes under pressure.
it's not an easy thing. I mean, it's like like that's why they just sit on their chair and looks at the camera, and people go like, the country's under attack. Move. Oh, the good reference to old people.
Cinematography wise, it's pretty good. Lighting is extremely competent. There's like nice pools of light, good breakup throughout the shots. Like the actual technical side of it's pretty good.
Yeah.
The desert shots look particularly nice.
They look very
Just
desert.
those salt flats, that's $1 million right there. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I think all the sound and sound effects and everything were incredible in it.
They do
I
a
think-
good job with their choices of sound effects. They're all very appropriate.
Yeah, I think when you get to a certain budget film, it's like you're using like industrial light and magic for your visual effects and for your sound effects, and it's just like you can't go wrong.
Yeah. They have like all the resources and all the best people doing it.
They set the standard. They made the industry what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the people.
I'm
to
still
go.
not entirely sure how they did some of the spaceship shots. Because they're
They build
pretty. Because there's a lot of models involved for sure.
No, they actually
But
built
some
the
of
thing
them-
like 15-mile thing and put it in the sky.
Because there was CG going on in '96.
There was like it was rudimentary CG. Like you can still see it now, but but
This is
before,
after Jurassic Park,
yeah,
mind you.
it's true. If they can
Yeah.
make a dinosaur, they can make a flying saucer.
Yeah. Jose mentioned when we were watching it that there's no view of the Empire State Building the way that you see it in the film.
It's true.
It's just
Really?
like there's a big avenue leading to the face of
Of the Empire State,
Building,
that's not real.
to like the southern face of it.
You can't see it like from the center of any avenue directly to the person. Like if it was built like the end of the avenue, there's no view like that. That's a fake view.
Yeah.
But you need to
But
be
it's a great-
New
it's a
Yorker
great
to know
set.
this.
Yeah, you gotta be there.
You gotta
and
be
even
there.
then, you might
You-
miss it. You would just go, oh,
It's
those
true.
are the right buildings.
It's
Oh,
true.
okay.
The other thing that I mentioned yesterday was that when they send the welcome wagon and then the welcome wagon gets like blown out of the sky, and you go like
Unnecessary.
this is completely unnecessary. These
It
aliens.
was just to ratchet up the threat. 'Cause
It-
they
it-
wanted
it
to be
was to
like,
raise the
it
stakes.
is threatening. This is the
Exactly.
stake.
But in any intents and purposes, if that alien race would have no need to
Just
destroy the
ignore the
helicopter, yeah, you
helicopter.
just completely ignore the helicopter, keep moving, and then when you're in position, you shoot. They just destroy the thing. They go like, It's
I
like
think they could
a
have
guy
played with-
in there that was drunk was like, I'm gonna blow you out of the sky, you freaking fly.
I think they could have played with the question longer.
It
And I think
could.
that would have been nice.
They could like something opens.
Because
and
there's
then,
the people who are like, woo,
Mhm.
we're gonna welcome them or whatever. We're
welcome to
idiots.
our Ivana.
Um,
I was speaking Spanish there. It just came out.
were
I
you?
am so sorry. Yeah, I said something in Spanish.
Okay.
It's okay.
How dare you?
It was a bad word.
All right. Do we want to do sort of final thoughts on the film?
Yeah, do
Sure.
you want to give it
do it.
scores? Scores later.
Scores.
Later.
All right. Whatever you, however you feel like rating it.
About,
or
talking
reviewing
score,
it.
like, what do you think about music? You thought the music was like
I
too
thought
much.
it was a little in your face, but it is good tunes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the music, like the songs are good.
Is it recognizable? Like you hear some of the themes and you will recognize it?
Some of them are a little cheesy. Some of them are a little canned, like the marching.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't think any of the music in this movie is so recognizable that you hear it isolated and you're like, "That's Independence Day."
Yeah, it's
Like,
not
Gotcha.
quite. It's not
Gotcha.
quite
I,
that
I think you hear it and it's like, "Oh, that's score from an epic film."
So you would say it has this, like you would recognize it like as you would recognize John Williams music, but you wouldn't say like, oh, it's as good as John Williams music. Definitely not.
I wouldn't say it's as good as John Williams.
Yeah, it's not like modern classical
Who did
music.
this? Let's see.
No,
No, it's like John Williams Jr.
because most of John Williams' music, you can specifically pinpoint the movie.
Yes.
You could say, "Oh, that's Star Wars," or "That's whatever." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You can't.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how some people
That's
can
true.
do that.
And yeah, and some of the songs are a little on the can.
It's some composer in Hollywood.
Speaking of which, this has nothing to do with Independence Day.
I love
but
it.
I was taking the subway yesterday, and there was a guy playing an accordion, and he was playing Danny Elfman's, or not Danny Elfman's, he was playing Tim Burton's Batman.
Really?
Nice.
Theme song on the accordion, which I think
Nice.
is that Danny Elfman?
I think it is Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Is Danny
So-
Elfman? Yeah.
So he was playing that, and I don't ever give money to people who beg, like ever. Like that's a rule of thumb for me. Give no money to people who beg. But I gave him money because I was like, that's
You gave-
incredible.
Well, that's a performance. Also.
Exactly.
great performance.
You
That's
took it.
different.
You didn't take it as begging. You took it as performance.
Yeah.
It's performing exactly. But every
You're
other
like,
time it's
you enlightened you lightened up the moment for me.
made
in
me
my
laugh
life.
for a couple seconds.
Yeah, there you
and then
go.
And then
He
he
brought
spun
joy
around
to your
into
life.
Indiana Jones, and I was like, incredible.
That's great.
Nice.
I mean, I tell you, this
So
happened.
what do you rate the movie?
This happened yesterday, July 3rd.
Yes, it happened yesterday on July 3rd.
There we go.
I was hurrying up to get home before midnight before it became Independence Day.
Yes, I figured.
Right.
Isn't it weird that we're all like doing this instead of being at barbecues and celebrating
I know,
America?
it's-
I feel like that's what
Well,
we
we
should be doing.
With all
we
people.
have revealed that we actually record the day before, so I guess
So today is July 3rd.
today's the
So
third.
So what
Yeah,
happened to
the
you happened on
third.
July 2nd.
So I lied.
Yeah,
You lied.
yeah,
You're
a
such a
dirty-
liar.
you're a
Such
dirty
Such a
liar.
liar. Final thoughts.
Yeah, come on.
Final thoughts.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, I think the movie holds. I think it's still entertaining. I think that it will fade with time, but it will still be the acknowledgement of that those 20 years radius of the movie of the alien movie of that generation. It's
It was
still
the alien movie.
it was the alien movie of that generation.
of the
That
90s.
it was it's like the 80s was E.T., the 90s is Independence Day, the 2000s is Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I think I agree. I still think the movie holds up. I think the technology is still there. I think the two big takeaways from this, or the three big takeaways from this movie, is it was, I don't know if it was the first, but it was definitely one of the only movies to blow up the White House, which I think is very interesting. I think the speech, as I mentioned, is definitely going to be, one of those things that people will always remember, specifically because it is a national holiday for the Americans. And then the third, I will say, is this is definitely one of those, like I said, one of the first movies to kickstart Will Smith's career, which he went on
Yeah, this was the only thing he really had before this was Bad Boys.
He had
Yeah.
Bad Boys, and he had
This, and then he followed this with Men in Black, so that was
Yeah.
like, what a hot
I'm
streak.
gonna ask you a question. Both of you. Do you think that the day Bill Pullman dies and the Oscar is doing, that thing that they do when somebody dies, this speech will be part of the footage shown of his career?
Maybe
don't
during the
think-
honorary. No,
I don't think Bill Pullman's big enough to have, because
Yeah.
they
I
do
think
like
he-
3 or
I
4
think-
clips. They do like 3 or 4 clips of each person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is the movie that like defined his career.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think
so, yeah.
this is gonna go in his obituary.
Yeah,
I think that speech is gonna be his obituary.
Did you want to give it a score?
me or him?
You,
I
you,
both.
Jose already passed his turn.
You didn't give it a score. Or what do we do? I don't know how you.
No, because now we're in scores.
So now you can, however you want.
however you want. A, B, C, one, like from 0 to 100, from 1 to 10.
But like, what if you give it out of 0 to 10 and I give it out of 0 to 100
Then
and John
just-
gives it
it
between
doesn't
an A
matter
and F?
because
Like, how are we supposed to
we're
compare?
not pondering
That's
it.
like average.
We will not. We'll make an extrapolation of everything. I know.
We
math.
have this debate.
I know math. I can do math
every
on
once in a
this.
while.
All right. I would say I'm gonna do it on a 1 to 10 scale.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I would
Always
say
solid choice.
I would say because of the nostalgic, seeing it when it came out and everything, I would give it a 7.
7.
I was. I mean, you just.
That's how you
told-
felt on this watch. Was
With
it
what?
7? That's how you felt on this watch. It was 7.
Yeah, I would give it a 7. I mean, I probably in '96 I probably would have given it like an 8.5 or
Yeah, I
something.
probably would have given it. I definitely would have given a higher score
Yeah.
as a kid. I give it a. I shouldn't have gone back. I shouldn't have gone back. It was better the way I remembered it, and like you said, like I remembered the speech just fine. That was great. Some of the effects are a little dated now. It's just like some of the things it does. There are examples of other movies that do it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
I
give
mean-
it like a kind of, and I wish I didn't go back.
I might be wrong, but I think that the fact that we're older and the fact that like we do know about politics and we do now know about countries other than our own. I think that's part of the reason why if it doesn't hold up over time, that'll be the reason.
Yeah.
That'll be the main focus because I remember being a kid and not knowing anything other than New Jersey or the United States. So it was like an amazing movie because it was all about the USA. But now being older, it's like there's a lot more than just
There's a lot out
us.
there.
And I think they tried to connect all of the groups and everything, but it really wasn't a movie about the world versus aliens. They said that, but it was really the United States versus the
And
aliens.
so you saw Resurgence.
Yes.
What would you give that one out of 10?
Can we do it in the negatives, or is that possible?
Oh wow!
No points?
That
You can
is
award no
crazy.
points, I suppose.
Because there
I'd
was no
probably
Will
give it,
Smith.
Like a 2 or a 3.
2 or 3, that's rough.
Well,
It's
I
bad.
tell you, I like it's like Joe.
I haven't
just-
seen it
It's
yet.
like Joe just read my mind. Like, I have your exact opinion. If it was back then, I would give it 8.5. If it's today, out of nostalgia factor, I give it a 7.
7.
And I do agree with you that the only thing that I can take positively after watching it, as an adult and as a filmmaker, it's the fact that like it still holds on entertainment, but all the other aspects is exactly as you're saying. It's just like it doesn't hold. Like these things, it feels fake. How that governments will react that way, that the whole plot will and untail that way. It's.
Yeah, it's
So I
very
agree. I
pulpy.
agree with you on that.
Like, have you guys seen Civil War, Captain America: Civil War?
Yes.
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 Like, even though that is kind of like in a way technically an Americanized movie because it's a comic book movie and all that kind of shit, it's still they are in multiple other locations. There's other characters who are from other countries and continents or whatever. So even that makes it feel like more present day because you're dealing with different cultures and you're dealing with different types of like vengeance and whatnot. And it doesn't, to me, that type of movie will hold up more over time because you're dealing with the world as opposed to just the U.S.
Yeah, it doesn't make assumptions of other places. Like when previous American films from this time, they usually portray the world and either everybody speaks English or it looks and feels exactly as American society.
Well, that still happens
Like
a lot.
now it doesn't happen as much. They pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
But those are my final thoughts.
All right, cool.
I have no more thoughts.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. Joe, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
You're amazing, Joe.
Is there anywhere they can find you? Do you want to?
Sure. I think I'm the chosen Joey on Instagram and Twitter.
Twitter.
That works.
All right,
I mean, I'm
and
on
then you
Facebook,
can
I'm on
find
places.
his film Seclusion at seclusionfilm.com. So check that out if you like horror. Thank you so much for joining us.
Still clean. I didn't masturbate during the show.
That's good.
Ah,
We kept your attention
I won't show you
away
mine.
from that. What about you, Jose?
You can find me at Jose in Paradox, and that's on Twitter, and JAVCH2 on Instagram.
It's very catchy. You know, you can change that.
I know, but then I like it. I
You
like
like
it.
it?
I like it as much as I
Keep
like
it.
Joe.
It kind of sounds like JCVD, which I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
So.
see,
It's
like,
just
it's my own
except that
JC.
it doesn't roll off the tongue the way that JCVD does.
Correct.
It will one day.
JAVCH.
It will one day. It will one day.
Josh.
All right. You can
Jobs.
you can find me at John in Paradox. It's JON in Paradox on both Twitter and Instagram. See how easy that was?
Yeah, it's super
Just
easy.
one
That's super easy.
one name
That's
for everything.
easy. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Follow the show. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Movie Club Collective. Like the page. We update twice a week, letting you know what next week's film is going to be and letting you know where you can find this very podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Like it if you're on iTunes. No, like it if you're on YouTube, and give us a rating if you're on iTunes. If you can figure that shit out. iTunes is a little ridiculous.
Hey guys, and happy Independence Day.
And
Happy
yeah,
Happy
So-
4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
today we celebrate our Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. And tomorrow mine.
Never give up.
Yeah.
surrender.
All right. Peace. This has been a J Squared production.